Well, guys, we found it. We found the one article title that I think on the spot. You've already read it, so Tristan's good now, but you didn't see him when he first read it. The first article that has caused Tristan to climax. Professor uses Godzilla films to teach Japanese constitution and peace. Tristan,
I
I. You're not wrong, Desu.
guess you're not wrong, but I wouldn't have worded it like that. Thank you very much.
Well, okay, fine then. You were at half past Godzilla at around Constitution, and then Peace sent you over the edge. But so
I feel like I'm just that fucking wrestling gif, and I just fall backwards out of my chair as I read the title.
okay. So he doesn't understand that he's talking about the gif with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the guy that owns WWE, and to you, you're like that gif, that billionaire gif. Okay, so anyway, so the professor Hiroshi Ito has actually he's a media studies professor at Wakayama Shinai Women's Junior College in Wakayama. Wakayama College in Wakayama, who knew? And he's kind of taking a very, I would say, very interesting approach to the Constitution. I mean, it would be like if we used Godzilla to teach our Constitution. Heck, even if we... No. Fuck this. Because we're going for U.S. creations. It would be like if I was trying to teach the Bill of Rights to people, to some of my former students in debate. Guys, you gotta teach about the Bill of Rights. Let's look at these Sharknado films. Like...
Okay.
No.
Right
No.
How dare
No. I love Godzilla. I love the man. Yes, man. I love the man.
Suit or the monster? Unclear.
Unclear. Yes. I met Godzilla at a bar once. Really cool dude. Anyway, do not give him Fireball though. The dude goes nuts. Anyway, so I love Godzilla. But it's just very strange to be like, and granted, I'm not saying, because it says here he's teaching the Japan's constitution and anti-war ideals. Anti-war ideals make sense to me.
Right.
It's when you talk about the Japanese constitution that I'm like, I would like to take his course because I'm curious.
Well, I think that's what he's going on. Like, he's going for in the sense of the specifically Article 9. So,
Okay.
Not having a standing army, that kind of stuff, not going to war, as in, all the events that happened for World War II in Japan.
Okay.
And I would say using the original Godzilla, Gojira from 1954,
right.
using that film to explain that idea is absolutely on point, because that's...
the reason why Sharknado came into my head is because there's 3 Sharknadoes, and granted, the first one was meant to be, in my opinion, like a parody or a joke of stuff like Sharknado and stuff that tries to be a mockbuster. But by the third one, they're like, we know that people laugh at this, let's just go all in. And it's like, no guys, you may have lost it, what you're trying to do there. So, when I look at Godzilla, I'm not saying Godzilla's lost it, but when I look at the main theme of the original Gojira, I look at it much differently than I do Godzilla, breakdancing with this kid.
Right.
That's why, like, I love to think of Godzilla as just Gojira and forget that the rest was ever canon. Not that everything else, but you and I both know that sometimes, every once in a while, Godzilla will be, doing the Gojira dance, and you're like, okay, I love when he fought Ghidorah, but like, why is he dancing?
Right.
Why is this the Godzilla dance that they want kids to emulate? This guy, Godzilla was meant to be an allegory for the atomic bomb. Like, what's going on? What's going on right now? So, I think, when I think of Godzilla, I want to think of him as Gojira, the original. But sometimes, I know I shouldn't bring in Zilla in this, but still, technically, he exists. I mean, didn't they kill Zilla in one of the bigger Godzilla crossovers?
Kind of hope so.
I'm pretty sure one of the bigger crossovers that he fought all the other monsters and he actually killed Zilla.
Right.
I don't remember which, but my point is that it's technically canon if that's the case, is what I'm getting at. So, if it's about, yes, the broader themes, I think teaching the original Godzilla and how it
Right.
started and stuff like that, I think is brilliant and it's beautiful. So in a
And
way,
he's also
yeah.
just using clips too,
Oh
like not
yes,
the entire movie series. So
yes. And I just think that for me, it would be clips from the first one and clips from Godzilla, the Raids. I can't remember the full name. Raids
Raids
Again.
Again,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Godzilla Raids Again. I would use those because I feel like I'm not saying that the rest of them are bad. We haven't even podcasted on all of them. We have podcasted on a decent amount of the '70s ones. We haven't even podcasted on all of them. I just think that after a while, the message gets lost. I think. So that's kind of why to me, it kind of felt like, oh, the message being lost, making me think of other tokusatsu. And also, there isn't much American tokusatsu. Like, it would be odd if, even for something that you like more than Sharknado, if I were to say, we're teaching our Constitution via Pacific Rim. It, it's a little strange.
yeah,
Also because the ideals are very different, where Godzilla is very anti-war, Pacific Rim is like, let's gear up for war.
because
So,
it's either
yeah.
that or humanity. Yeah,
Well, yeah, but still, that's an odd,
right,
it's definitely
yeah,
not pro-peace. I'll say that much.
right,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, so that's why it's kind of hard to find a U.S. equivalent, in my opinion, because thinking of, like,
right,
American Toku, it's always about violence, in theory,
right,
over showing the destruction of violence, like
yeah,
the ramifications of the violence. Which I praise this professor. Don't get me wrong. I praise what he's doing. I'm sure I got some. We got some very fun comments below. I'm sure.
yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
there's an idea that's um, some of the I think the current prime minister
Mm,
in the article talking about how there are whispers in the government of reinstating an actual national army,
mm-hmm.
and that he said after seeing Shin Godzilla, and I haven't seen it and I really want to, but apparently there's within the movie Americans say oh we would use a nuclear strike against Godzilla to stop them, but they try to the Japanese are like, no, let's not use a nuclear strike.
Yeah, that wasn't a cut. Yeah, it was. Anyway, so you were saying, Tristan, to me about how that the professor wasn't comfortable with the way something in Shin Godzilla happened, even though it seemed like the Japanese people in the movie were not pro nuking Godzilla.
Right.
The Americans did bring it up, and to
Yeah.
him, he felt a little uneasy because he doesn't want the history of this to be forgotten.
Right.
Of this character, the way the character was created, and what the character represented.
Yeah.
Sure, yes, I admit, it was odd that it teared. If it's trying to show the negatives of war, why would it be war and wrath and anger? But it's showing that because we should not be like that.
Right. We shouldn't try and counter it with
Yes,
a bigger
yes,
bomb.
exactly, exactly. And especially because that's seemingly how it was created as
Right.
well. So yeah, so that I understand. In no way was I trying to shit on or put down the professor or his ideals by
No. Yeah.
comparing it to Sharknado. Because I remember, guys, I picked the topic, right? So it's like I'm the one who thought this is a great topic. I want to discuss it because I found it so interesting and so novel of an idea.
I
I
would take
think
that
it's
class in a
yeah, I
heartbeat.
would too actually. Because I don't know if I'd ace it, because frankly we both don't know Japanese, but I would take
Oh,
it.
perfect.
I love it. Tristan's like, well, we're assuming we know Japanese in this example, Matt. But still, I enjoy it. I just feel like over time, like, I feel like we shouldn't forget Godzilla's original message. But I also think that if I had to debate the professor, I wouldn't be against the original message. I wouldn't be pro the nuking idea. I would just want him to acknowledge that sadly over time Godzilla has become commercialized. Now if he doesn't like
Yeah.
that, then I think maybe we can agree perhaps. But
Right.
Godzilla has become so commercialized that it's more money making, I think, than
Right.
it is showing its original ideals. Although to be fair, I haven't seen the newer American Godzilla films, and I haven't seen Shin Godzilla either. So maybe they go back to their roots. And in no way am I putting down the rest of every single Godzilla film out there, every person who's created a Godzilla film. Like, I'm not putting down Toho at all. It's just that I do feel like it strayed far from its roots long before Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
You know, if his idea is Shin Godzilla strayed from its roots,
Right.
oh, it's been gone since the
Well,
70s. That's
yeah,
40 years.
because Shin Godzilla
Yeah.
is, at least from what I've heard, is supposed to the idea it is returning to its roots.
Okay. And
Um,
then yeah, so it's supposed to be
the
like a direct sequel.
I don't know about a sequel, but just
Oh, so it might be a
similar
reboot.
roots. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because again, I haven't seen it, so I don't
Um,
remember much info about it
and
because
the
it came out.
American
Yeah.
Godzilla that just came out is
Mm-hmm.
kind of, I would say, more along the lines of the money making aspect, because
Okay.
Godzilla is the hero, basically.
You're talking about the U.S. Godzilla.
Right.
Right. Okay. And yeah. So yeah. I mean, I love this idea. I would love to take the class, and and I want to. I would love to see this happen more, not just in Japan, but also in the U.S. as well. Teaching nonviolence through media, which does happen, of course, but
Yeah.
I do feel like, at least on the American side of things, the the um, the moral of the story is always, well, we have to punch harder.
Mhm.
So, it's interesting to see how Godzilla. I mean, to be fair, Godzilla was destroyed by a bomb, but it was much different than an atomic bomb that could also destroy humanity. Which I think that was also the point as well. Like, we're attacking. It's just like that Matrix podcast that we did, where it was like, oh, we scorched the skies just to try to stop the machines. We took out our sun.
Right.
Great,
Yeah.
great job, humanity. So in this case, very similar. Like, the idea that, oh, let's hit it with nukes. It's like, that affects us too, right?
Right.
Nukes aren't always the answer, I think,
Yeah.
is the main point that the professor would make. And, I wouldn't disagree with that myself. And I think neither would you.
No.
Yeah. All right, so we're done.
Oh, damn it. I was gonna.
What?
No, because they made mention to the. I mean, it's funny. It's like, speaking of capitalism, they sent the date for the second animated film, but we can talk about that later when it comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, we'll cast on.
I know, yeah. All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so. Sorry.
He's
Okay,
going to breathe
3.
atomic breath.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. On to more Tokusatsu news. On to a more lighter note. Let's talk about some nice things, Tristan. Let's ease into some fun. Let's not end the podcast on never. This one's going to be very short too, like an article, a very short discussion, because all that we know thus far is that a new trademark, Toei's registered a new trademark for Kamen Rider called Kamen Rider. I don't know how to pronounce this. That's not the actual name. It's called Zio or Zio. The problem, and the reason why I'm confused, is because it's ZI-O. And the reason why I'm also confused is because there was a Kamen Rider already. There was Z Cross, that is ZX, and there's also ZO, like literally a ZO. So I'm like, so is it Zio? Because it would be odd if there's 2 Kamen Rider Zios. And Zio was I think I've shown you Zio, Tristan. It was a movie that came out in the 90s.
Right.
It was the one that had stop motion and the really creepy bat. Well, actually, that was G. It had the creepy spider.
Okay.
Did I show you the one with the creepy spider that then they did like stop motion?
Possibly.
All right, I'll give you a refresher course next time you come over. Anyway,
Damn it.
I'm like the professor, and this shows the issues with late stage capitalism. Anyway,
Oh God.
The spider, yes. Anyway,
The
see how it
spider
eats.
is late stage capitalism.
Look at it trying to eat the capitalist millennial Kamen Rider. Anyway, he's a millennial because he was created in the 90s, Tristan. Anyway, well, Tristan left the podcast. Nice to see you. It's just me. Tristan just got up and walked away. Anyway, but you took Japanese for half a semester. Does that make any sense to you or no?
Well, because I'm rusty at this point.
Super rusty, I know, but I also know zero, so you know more than I do.
Yeah, because there's this. Oh God. Z is usually like Z would almost be like she. So
Oh, also, do you think it's written maybe as G, like not G, as J, like Zoo Ranger? Technically, the pronunciation is Jew Ranger. Do
yeah,
you think it
G and
might be
J are
Geo?
close to.
It might be Geo
Uh,
or Shio. You're right. It could be
yeah,
Shio as well.
yeah,
So yeah, so I don't think that they're going for
so,
Zeo.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So and also I would like to mention that this trademark was it went public on May 8th. Right now, Kamen Rider builds. Oh, the trademark for Kamen Rider Build went public in June last year, and of course, Kamen Rider Build is the currently airing Kamen Rider, so that's something else to think about as well. I don't know where it is right now. I think it might have another like 20 episodes to go. So I don't think
Right.
Build is almost done. Like I think Build might be done in like a few months or so. But still, I mean, I know to you, Kamen Rider doesn't mean much. You like Kamen Rider from what you've seen, but you don't actively go out and watch Kamen Rider.
I
Um,
was going to ask you, are you excited? Or
I
you would be if you understood the title a little better.
I would be if I understood the title, and the reason why is because even though I haven't seen the newest Sentai, the newest Sentai is Lupin Ranger versus I forgot the other side. Basically, the newest Sentai is actually one Sentai of criminals, thieves,
Huh.
versus another Sentai of cops.
Well,
So it's the thieves trying to get away from the cops, and oh, Patron Ranger, right? So it's Patron Ranger versus Lupin Ranger, but it's an entire show based around the concept. So when I heard Lupin, I was like, oh, like Lupin the Third. So I
yeah,
thought, oh, thief. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's an interesting concept. So there was more of an idea around the trademark, right?
right.
This just kind of I don't know what it means. Like Shio, potentially maybe it's thinking of like Chinese mythology alongside, kung fu perhaps. They haven't had a kung fu Kamen Rider in years.
Mm,
Technically, I haven't had a Chinese kung fu Kamen Rider since Kamen Rider Super 1, which was in the 75, 77. So it's been a while since we've had a
right.
Kung Fu Kamen Rider. Yes, a lot of the Kamen Riders use Kung Fu in some way or another. I know I've shown Tristan some clips and he's just sitting there like, they use Kung Fu a lot. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that the idea of having one dedicated to like, I train in Kung Fu, whatever that means, right? In the different martial arts. They haven't had one dedicated to martial arts, if I remember correctly, since Super 1. So
Right.
since then, they've had a bunch of other Kamen Riders. Of course, Kamen Rider always based on like being bug men in some way or another, either bugs of some kind. But usually, sometimes not, but usually. I don't know, man. I have no idea. That's the thing. I have no idea where this is gonna go because I have no idea what the name is going to like. What the name means.
Right.
I don't think it'll be pronounced like Zeo. It would be interesting if it's tied into it in some way, but they've never really done Kamen Rider that way. Like
Right.
they've done some crossovers and stuff, but they don't usually do. Or like when they do crossovers in movies, of course they'll tie it into older riders if they want to come back to cameo and say, "How's it going?" They're like,
Right.
"Oh my goodness, you're Kamen Rider 1," and it's like, "Yes, I am." It's like, "Can you help me fight the bad guys?" "Oh yes, I will."
Oh
And
no,
then,
my spine.
well, remember they're
I
cyborg, so
know.
their spine is doing somewhat adequate. They're like, "It's been 40 years. Thank goodness my spine is robotic." Did you just
Thank
say that?
goodness I'm
Oh, I
robot.
did. Yeah, he cries. Well, because they were kidnapped and augmented.
Right.
All of them were
Oh,
almost all of the original 70s Kamen Riders were kidnapped and
well,
and augmented by cyborg
I,
technology.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why it's like, thank goodness I have this robot body. Did you just? Oh my god, I just said that. Literally, Die Shocker's like, I recorded this. I'm gonna play this on loop at night. Like it's just so yeah, so Kamen Rider's always changed and evolved over time. I don't know if this is going to try to go back to, I mean, just 2 years ago, I don't know what Build is about, sadly, but just 2 years ago, they were based upon video games, which is something that a Kamen Rider has never really been based on. But I don't think Build is video game based. If it is, then I'm sorry, guys. I haven't been following the Kamen Riders. Let me make sure I'm correct, though, so I know which one is which. But yeah, no, they've changed over the last few years. Recently, as we're kind of wrapping the story up, recently they had a special that was the end of Heisei Riders, and it wasn't like a grand climax where everyone dies. It was not Infinity War, I'll tell you that much. It was, I'm kidding, not everyone died.
Kamen Rider Infinity War.
Yeah, right. No, no. What happened is with the Kamen Rider End of Heisei, Tristan, you know that there's emperors in Japan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they'll call it the Heisei era, or they'll call something the Showa era. So when someone calls, if some of you don't know who might be Toku fans or who aren't Toku fans, when someone talks about the Showa era Kamen Riders or the Heisei era Kamen Riders, the only thing that really changes there is the passage of an emperor. So because the Heisei is leaving or stepping down, then Toei was like, oh, we're having the end of the Heisei era. And that's really what they did with that movie. So it's not like it was like some giant, like everyone's gonna die. No, it was just, this is the end of an era kind of thing.
Right.
Which was funny because they just had their 10th anniversary of like, oh, hey, it's been 10 years in the Heisei era. So they did that anniversary, but they didn't know, of course, because they don't work for the government. They didn't know that the emperor was stepping down.
Right.
So when he did, they were like, shit. Well, now it's the end of the Heisei era. It's like, guys, you just did the 10th anniversary. Shut up. It's like one of those talking belts. Shut up. But anyway, so but yeah, so the I'm trying to, before we wrap this up, I really want to know what X-Aid. That's what it was. Kamen Rider X-Aid was the one involving a lot of like video game references. And then Kamen Rider Ghost is also one that they've never done before. You know about Ghost because you played the PS4 Kamen Rider game where he was the main character.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.